Hi guys, once again welcome back to our FIFA World Cup daily show. Rahul this side alongside me Shomnath and Obhijit Deshmukh. You can see joining from Toronto is covering the ongoing FIFA World Cup. So Obhijit obviously our new guest today and most likely Devashita will also join in few minutes. So what a day, what a day. I mean a day of two massive upset obviously. Teams like heavyweights like Germany and Netherlands booking early flight tickets back home, but on the same day it's Brazil who survived an absolute scare against Japan. A lot of things to talk about, and also we look forward the upcoming games at this World Cup as well. But first, I will start with Avijit. Avijit, let's talk about the Germany versus Paraguay game. One of the biggest upset from this World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, probably, I would say it is a bit surprised, but I'm not surprised that they went away so early because I was there in Toronto to cover the match between Germany and Ivory Coast, and the way Germany was playing, it didn't look like to be a team that's gonna be for a long time. And Paraguay is actually leading in the first half. Then the first half they were 1-0 up. And I would say it was actually the Casemiro who led from the front and then, got the bigger part. It was Kevich Havertz who did the thing for. I got confused between the Brazil squad, Casemiro. So actually, it was a good game, but I'm not surprised Brazil hasn't been doing that well because you see the last few World Cup, Germany lost in the group stage in 2018, and so does in 2022. So they don't have that good players that can take Germany for a long way, maybe till quarterfinals. And the way I saw the match in the Ivory Coast, they lack that pace that is required in the modern football. So I'm not surprised at all. Germany losing to Paraguay.
I mean, they kept, position more than 70%, and also they played more than 700 pass throughout the whole game, but still they couldn't capitalize on that. Obviously, it was first Paraguay who opened the scoring. The Germany obviously equalized through Kai Havertz, but then the game, went into the tiebreaker where Kai Havertz missed one penalty, Nick Ultimate missed one penalty, and Jonathan Tah also, joined the list of missing penalty. But Paraguay, they held their nerve, till the full-time whistle, till the last minute, and what a win for Paraguay actually because and also it was not that unexpected, especially as Obijit mentioned that you all have watched the game between Ecuador and Germany where Germany have really struggled in the second half, and also at the same time how Paraguay have transformed over the last few years. I mean, in the FIFA World Cup qualifiers, they have defeated both Argentina and Brazil. So you can imagine what kind of spirited performance they have been producing over the over last few years. So of course that was not that unexpected. But for Germany, obviously, again they have failed to make it beyond the round of 32. So obviously that's a heartbreaking defeat. But Shomnath, what do you think again went wrong for the Germany team? They kept majority position, but still they again lost the game and also against Paraguay.
I think obviously Germany lacked productivity because, as we were mentioning, that in the first half I was seeing, the statistics. Germany, I think, had that 75-76% of ball position, but they still managed to have two shots on target, not on target, in total two shots towards the goal. That's the stats of the first half. And if you talk about the entire match, Germany played around with the extra time, 90 minutes plus extra time. Germany played around 800 passes. They kept 76% position. I think they. Okay, just a second. I think they took 21 to 22 shots, and if we talk about the XG, expected goals, that was around 1 to 1.5. So it obviously tells that the German build up on the German side has been not that consistent in front of the goal, but obviously, if we it has been coming for Germany, I think, because in the match against Ecuador, the match against Ivory Coast, Germany had a very narrow win against Ivory Coast, then falling apart against Ecuador, and now Paraguay. It is obviously it was a bit unexpected from Paraguay because the kind of form they were in the group stages. I didn't thought that Germany would get knocked out by them, but obviously this is football, I think, and after all, Paraguay. They were brave. They played good football. They held Germany the entire 120 minutes, and they were looking for that opportunity in the tiebreakers, and they did. So, and brilliant. I would say brilliant penalty taking from the Paraguayan side, and obviously from for Germany, Manuel Neuer tried his best to keep them in the game, but obviously that ridiculous penalty from Jonathan Tah, I guess that sums up the whole Germany performance throughout the match. So obviously Germany again a heartbreak after 20 for 2018 2022. Once again Germany disappointed the football world, and let's see what happens in
Well,
2030.
I'll tell you one fact. During the Ivory Coast game, I was at the stadium. Ivory Coast had actually opportunity to win that game. I remember in
Hmm.
the second half, Ivory Coast had two golden opportunities which could have, made the
Yeah,
game sealed for them.
exactly.
So I was clear that this German team won't win the World Cup at all. I mean, of course, when Germany goes into the World Cup, they are amongst the favorites. But it was clear that this German team will not win the World Cup at all. Okay, they reach the knockouts, but they won't have a good run ahead in the knockouts.
There was is another shocking game between Morocco and Netherlands. Of course, Morocco's fairy tale run continues at the World Cup after reaching the semi-final last edition. Now they have again made it to the round of 16. But who thought that this Netherlands team will have to book their flight tickets back home so early?
It sounds a bit unfortunate because they look like going through to the round of 16, but once again means Virgin Van Dijk, who played so well, means it was his momentary lapse that Issa Diop headed the ball into the nets. Means obviously in fact he and that is what is football is all about. Means obviously after having a great match, a momentarily lapse means in this injury time, and Issa Diop equalizes, and then it was left. I would say it was left to the goalkeepers. Means when you talk about
Mm.
Bart, and the Netherlands goalkeeper, he almost means stepped up brilliant
That's right, yeah.
shot from that that Moroccan player. Means it looks
Yeah.
like it was on target. And then obviously you mentioned about Yosen, and then I would also like to. I was going through a story about Oliver. Orlando Gill, and what an incredible story. Last 4 years, he had to sell his everything means for his ailing son, and here is the hero of his country, Paraguay. Manuel Neuer, it was his last match, last international match. He called it a day after today. Means obviously unfortunate to say the least, because he would love to see Germany making it through the next round, but that was not the case. So he has to swallow the bitter pill. Both the two top European nations bowing out from the round of 32. But at the same time, we might also give credit to the African nations, the way they have performed, especially that there's the teams like Morocco. Means the last time also, so it only proved that it was not a fluke that they reached the semi-finals last time, and this time also they looked like a team possessed.
It's not at all. I mean, they finished fourth, not at all fluke. And this time, the African teams have done well, incredibly well. Out of the 10 teams, 9 teams have reached the knockouts. But
I am not talking about fluke. I am saying that it
yeah,
again proved that that
yeah,
was not a
yeah,
fluke. I did not
yeah,
say it was a
yeah.
fluke.
But talking about Netherlands, even when see Netherlands are incredible side. When they go to the penalties, they're the worst team in the world. I have some stats from.
True.
So I'll just name how many penalties they have lost. They have lost to Denmark in the 1992 Euros. They lost to France in the quarterfinals of 1996 Euro. They have lost to Brazil in the 1998 World Cup semi-final. They have lost to Italy in the 2000 Euros. They've lost to Sweden in the 2000. Actually, they won Sweden in the Euros in 2004. They lost to Costa Rica. Sorry, they lost to Argentina in the 2014, but they won against Costa Rica. They lost again to Argentina in the 2022 World Cup. They lost to Spain in the 2023 Nations League. So The ratio is I mean Netherlands are worst at the penalties. So I don't know what happens to them. It's like a ghost for Netherlands when they go into penalties. When I was watching this match, I had doubts like, okay, Netherlands can win only in the regular time or at the extra time. If it's penalties, it's game over for them. You open any match in the history of Netherlands, they played so well. Even they were leading for the like most of the time in this match. Morocco again have that thing of scoring in the dying minutes of the match. That's what Morocco is most special. And then when it comes to the penalties, I think if India has a chance, if they play against Netherlands and match go in the penalties, India can defeat Netherlands because they have got some like we know like there are certain teams in cricket which in the knockouts they don't do well. Netherlands the same. They don't do well at the penalties. The very rare chances where Netherlands have actually won in the penalties.
Absolutely, they have been consistent in the penalty over past few years, and but again, when it comes to Netherlands, they are one of the complete squad, going into this World Cup. But again, they have failed to meet their expectation, just like Germany. But for Netherlands, you have to feel for their star forward Cody Gakpo. I mean, he was so impressive throughout this whole World Cup so far, and also you have to feel for him because he scored the opening goal for Netherlands, but unfortunately, it was equalized by Issa Diop of Morocco. But for Cody Gakpo, after that goal, you all have noticed that celebration was emotional because just 48 hours ago, his partner announced the tragic loss of their unborn son. So after 48 years, he scored for his nation, but unfortunately, it's disappointing for Netherlands that they couldn't close the game. They conceded in the stoppage time. So obviously, that's a bit heartbreaking for them. But Shomnath, let's talk about Morocco a bit because their fairy tale run continues at the World Cup. And also, if you see their team, mostly they are reliant on dual citizenship player. Even their goal scorer, Ismail Saibari, I mean, who scored the winning penalty. He was born in France, then he was brought up in Belgium, and then he is now playing for Netherlands club PSV.
Yeah, obviously, as we were mentioning in the live yesterday that Netherlands and Morocco hold a very interesting record actually because after 20, as we mentioned it several times, that after 2006, Netherlands have never lost a match in inside the 90 minutes, and obviously that record stays intact for Netherlands and also for Morocco. They have not, they haven't lost. They have lost just once in the last 48 games, and again for Morocco their undefeated streak continues. So obviously these two teams don't like to face defeat that quite often, and I think obviously that tiebreaker was inevitable to separate these sides. Obviously, if you look to Netherlands, then obviously I think it is the best team that got knocked out of the World Cup so early. Obviously, teams like Japan and teams like Germany. But to be honest, Netherlands played good football throughout the tournament, throughout these four matches. We can't complain much about the gameplay of Netherlands. Obviously, they have many superstars across every positions of the field, be it the defense, be it the midfield, be it the wings, attack, everything. They had covered. They covered everything. To be honest, uh, the Netherlands have created some heroes in this World Cup. Obviously, we have to talk about Summerville, the way this boy stepped up and helped Netherlands to score a goal. Even the Cody Gakpo's goal, I think the assist was from Summerville. So the way Netherlands team played in this World Cup, they should be proud of themselves. But again, losing three World Cup finals, so close yet so far for Netherlands, and now after having such a good team, just crashing out in the round of 32, it's really disheartening. And the more we talk about Morocco, I think the less we would appreciate them because the way they improve their football over the years, it's absolutely incredible. And after the Brazil Morocco match, everybody was criticizing Brazil that what happened to the best team in the world, the way they are performing against Morocco, they are drawing against Morocco. But somewhere we all know that Morocco is not an underdog team right now. They are not a weak team. They are one of the best teams in the world. It's quite evident in their FIFA ranking. I think they are seventh, I think, in FIFA latest FIFA ranking. So obviously Morocco is a big side, is a big team, and you need to respect them because beat any team in the world except for I would say France or Spain. Not only Spain, I say except France. This Morocco team will give tough competition to. This Morocco team actually can beat any team in the world right now. So obviously, huge thing for them.
And
Morocco
also,
had a
they are.
great, great chance now. They face Canada in the round of 16. I
Yes.
see Morocco slightly better team than Canada, but
So you
given
are
the
currently in Canada. So what the Canada fans are, thinking of this clash? Tell us.
no, I think Canada are happy the way they have reached the knockouts for the first time, and round of 16 is icing on cake for them. I think, to be honest, not many people expected that Canada. I mean, yeah, they had a 50-50 chance of saying that okay, they'll reach knockouts because see, they had Bosnia in the game in the group. They had Switzerland, if I'm not wrong, Bosnia, Switzerland, and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
third team was the last team was Qatar. Qatar. So I think it was that one match against Qatar changed the things for them because against Bosnia they had a draw. Although Bosnia was leading in
Mm.
that match against Qatar, they had an incredible 6-0. I think that goal difference gave them the advantage to qualify uh, for the knockouts. But I think Canada has done well and they have nothing to lose. But to me, Morocco, I think, is a better side, and they have, got that game to defeat Canada. But having said that, anyone can and have a great. But looking around, a slight advantage to Morocco side. But
And
I
also,
think,
Morocco's goalkeeper have been one of the most, consistent goalkeeper when it comes to
correct.
the tiebreaker. Yasin Bono, since 2018 World Cup, he has pulled off, so many upset in at the World Cup. I mean, his presence in between the stake is enough for the opponent team. Even today also, he made the difference between the two teams, Netherlands and Morocco. So obviously, it's a, obviously heartbreaking defeat for Netherlands, but for Morocco, I mean, for decades, they have been investing in football, but now they are reaping the rewards for it.
Yeah.
But Devashish, we now shift our focus to the Brazil versus Japan game. Another dramatic thriller. Have to give credit to Carlo Ancelotti's tactics, the way he changed the game after the halftime.
Yeah, absolutely, and credit should be given him because and also I would say that blessing in disguise that Paqueta got injured and he has to be substituted. And the moment he brought in Endrick, I think and there was a lot of flair. For the means obviously first half, if you ask me, I won't say Brazil totally dominated, but obviously they showed sparks. But second half, that initial 15-20 minutes, it was just like the Brazil we all know. Grew up watching that flair means the relentless pressure and it looked like Brazil will score anytime and Casemiro, it was redemption for Casemiro because Sano, he got the ball and actually Casemiro could have fouled him. He
Yep.
could have got a yellow card, but
Exactly.
he could
That's why.
him then and there in the midfield itself. But he
Then
allowed
then
him to
then,
go
then
and
Casemiro would have been sent off.
yeah,
He was
absolutely.
already in the
Yeah,
booking.
and he in fact you have shared it in the group as well. I think he misses the next match, Rahul.
Yeah, yeah. He will miss the next game.
Yeah, but obviously what a cross from Gabriel to find Casemiro and I think but for me I think Brazil will take heart out the way that youngster played. Enrique, Ryan, these are the players to watch out for the future. Means to have someone Rafinha missing out due to injury, to have this crop of young players coming up and immediately fitting into the playing 11, and that speaks volumes. And for me now, I have to admit that Brazil is definitely looking like the team to beat. Means that second half means that will give nervous ness to all the teams. The way they played in the second half, I'm not talking about the first half. The second half, particularly, that relentless pressure, um, and Japan. I think something would be spoken about Japan's tactics. They were too defensive. They were only defending, and you cannot restrict Brazil when you have such flair in that strike force. And I think it was a tactical error also, I would say. But nevertheless, Japan showed that they have played well. But Brazil, once again, as I reiterate, they are looking to be one of the favorites.
I
Absolutely. In the
think
second half,
I
it
think
was
all
Brazil
the
all over
credit
Japan.
to the coach of Brazil, Carlo Ancelotti, because Gabriel mentally was included in the place of Pedro Santos. Many people would say why Pedro Santos wasn't included in the squad. Now that Gabriel has scored that
Joe
winner
Pedro. I mean, you
against,
were saying Joe Pedro, no?
yeah,
Joe
yeah,
Pedro.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it is like the nail in the coffin because many people have doubted why Joe Pedro wasn't included in the squad. So I think this game would just finish that debate off. And what a crucial moment to score this game. I mean, see, Japan. I was there at the Qatar World Cup as well. Japan defeated Brazil in the first match, and they defeated Japan in their last group stage match as well. I was there to cover this match, and this Japan's team is incredible. In the group stage, they had an incredible draw against Netherlands, the first match. They defeated Tunisia and against Sweden. They could have won that match, but again, it was a draw. This Japan team, I think they're raising their bar above and above. I think Japan would have actually won this match had they been little bit
Yeah.
smarter. They could have won this match, but I think the way they were playing and across the world, many were expecting that Japan can beat Brazil as well, because Brazil isn't like okay against Morocco. They Brazil had a draw, but okay, fine. Scotland and Haiti are not that. Haiti is not the great team. Scotland maybe yes, but the way Japan was playing, people were expecting okay, an upset is happen can happen. First half also it happened in the way like Japan was leading most of the time, but credit to Casemiro the way he has led. But I think that goal in the dying moments, that's where make the people like different from like what the Japan team is and why Brazil is a five-time world champion. But good to see, and that only now the Asian team left in the World Cup is Australia.
Australia.
Of the nine team, eight team are now back. Only two teams qualified for the round of 32. Australia is the only remaining team. I mean, that too is not actually Asian, but yeah, they plays through AFC. So that's the only team remaining.
Absolutely. I mean, the Asian teams, few Asian teams have managed to, close the gap, with the European nation or the Latin American nation. But still, the gap is still evident. There is still difference. So hopefully, in the coming edition, in the coming years, we'll see more such Asian teams, closing the gap with the European
By the
nation.
way,
But yeah,
I was in that Iraq versus Senegal press
mhm.
conference where Iraq coach, I forgot his name, he said that the importance of the league is where the Asian teams are falling. If the league of all the Asian countries, it is matching close to what Africa is.
Point.
Even Africa has 10 out of 9 teams have qualified for knockouts. Only Tunisia is the one team which couldn't qualify. So that's a big statement. Imagine a team like Iraq. They've gone through very crisis situation past few decades. They have qualified for the World Cup. It's a big message. Although they couldn't win a match at the World Cup, that's a different story. But the league, how important it is for any team to perform well, that's where it
Absolutely.
shows.
I mean, league is backbone of any national team. I mean, that's the proof, obviously. But again, coming back to the Japan versus Brazil game, you rightly mentioned, Avijit, that Japan was top notch. They were so impressive at this World Cup. I mean, uh, there was just the gap was so narrow between Brazil and Japan. But I think the difference was made by Carlo Ancelotti with that halftime substitution. I mean, when he brought Enrique, I mean, in place of because in the first half, you see the Japan were attacking a lot, through the mid channel, and then in the second half, he switched to 4-2-4. In the middle, the two midfielders were, Casemiro and Bruno Guimaraes, and then he brought Enrique as well, who joined Matthews Cunha in the as a forward, and then he stretched the wing with Vinicius Junior and Ryan, and that made the difference for Brazil. I mean, Carlo Ancelotti have won so many such kind of games with Real Madrid and other clubs at Europe, and now he's doing that job with the national team in Brazil as well. But Shomnath, obviously, do you think Brazil will be very much confident, going into the next round? Obviously, they will have to wait for the winner of Ivory Coast or Norway. But do you think they will feel very confident, especially winning this game, without Neymar and also the substitute coming off the bench and making difference for them?
I mean, having Carlo Ancelotti as the head coach changes a lot of dynamics for this Brazilian team, because obviously we know that he is one of the best coaches in the world who can outplay the low block football and score goals. We have seen it multiple times when he was in Real Madrid. Madrid has won many matches, such matches where the opposition used to close the defense, close the defense, and compact the spaces in front of the goal. But still, Carlo Ancelotti and his team managed to score goals. So obviously, this Brazilian team looks threatening, I would say, but. The good part is that every day, day by day, and match by match, this Brazilian side is showing, versatility in their team. Not only they are scoring goals and all, they are winning matches. They are winning matches in clutch moments, and that's what matters in big at the biggest stage. The more they move forward in this tournament, they will face difficult teams like England. Most probably, they will face if they won't win the round of 16 match, but against Norway or against Ivory Coast, uh, obviously, the match will be tough again. Norway with a brilliant attack, one of the best attacks in this World Cup. Having Erling Haaland, the best number 9 in the world right now, it will be difficult for Gabriel Magalhaes and Marquinhos to man mark this giant of a striker. But still, if Brazil plays like Brazil, I don't think that won't be a problem for Carlo Ancelotti's team. And again, he is the X factor for Brazil because his ever-changing tactics. He can change the play style of one team during the match, which is not very likely Brazil, because in the past we have seen Brazil more focused on possession-based and traditional joga bonito football. But after Carlo Ancelotti arrived in Brazil, obviously we have saw that the complete change in dynamics, a bit of modern football, playing through the wings, spamming aerial balls in the box against Japan. So obviously, Carlo Ancelotti, he can change his tactics. He analyzes the situation, and obviously, he is a master of man managing. I would love to hear the pep talk after the World Cup ends. Obviously, there are many media channels who will eventually play the dressing room talks. I would be very happy to listen to what Carlo Ancelotti told the players in the halftime, and obviously, and that change the full complexion of the game. Brazil was a completely different side in the second half, and especially that 15-minute span of attacking. I think that completely shattered the Japanese confidence in the first quarter of the second half.
Absolutely, I think the best thing Brazil did, to avoid the tiebreaker that Germany and Netherlands actually failed to do. Final two comments. First, I will go to Devashita, and then I will end with Vijay Deshmukh. Devashita, your thoughts, your expectation from the game between Ivory Coast and Norway, because Brazil will be waiting for this game winners.
Yeah, obviously we all hope, and at least I hope that Norway makes it to the next round. When that will be a cracking of a match, because we all want superstars to be
Yep.
present. And that is what the crowds they going to watch. Yes, I
Africans
have
would not be happy,
no
Mama.
disrespect to Ivory Coast, but I would rather love to see Erling Haaland play that round of 16 matches. And but I think the match that we all will be interested to is to see France, the game between France, and I
Absolutely.
think France is one of the top contenders. If you ask me, France versus Sweden will be a cracker of a match, especially that top half means Mbappe with the kind of form he has been already, and then you have Olise, Diu, and Dembele. I think that France attack line is one of the perhaps the best in this World Cup. So, and Sweden. Let's not count out Sweden as well. So it will be a cracking contest tonight.
Absolutely. Vijay Deshmukh, your thoughts on the game between France and Sweden, because this World Cup have been so much, wide open so far, so many
Yeah, I
upset.
mean,
But
I
yeah.
have no doubts France going to win, maybe 3-0. I'll be
Okay.
upfront because,
Okay. So you are
see,
not in favor of
Sweden,
Sweden pulling off another upset?
no, 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 because France is a completely different team. The way they have
True.
thrashed, I mean, even okay, fine. Against Norway, Norway had like a kind of B team, but still, it's the B team is quite better. They won 3 games in a row. Mbappe and
Good.
then Dembele. I think
Dembele also fired.
Sweden. Yeah, yeah. That's. I have no doubts that France. See, I can understand. Okay, Brazil Japan match. You can think of okay, upset is possible, but against France, Sweden, there's no doubt that Sweden's going to give a difficult time. It will be straight. Again, yeah, Ivory Coast can actually give a tough time to Norway because the strength of
True.
Ivory Coast
It
players are
will be
they're
a close
very
game.
quick. They're very quick. If you see that match, and even Julian Nagelsmann has accepted. I was there in the press conference. He had accepted that the Ivory Coast players are very quick. If that match, if you see in the highlights as well, you'll see most of the time it was Ivory Coast that had good number of opportunities. So I won't be surprised if Ivory Coast upsets and as Norway is a great team, and they had this tactical where they didn't place all their players for the match against France, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. But I won't be surprised if Ivory Coast defeats Norway. But yeah, Norway is slightly favorite better team, but African team, you can't expect anything. They can surprise any team at any given day from the knockouts onwards. Yeah, but in the third match again, Mexico, I think playing at the home, they are in a better shape. I think they should also have a better of Ecuador. So I think tomorrow for me should be Mexico and then France for sure. Tough between Ivory Coast and Norway, but whatever team uh, won't be surprised if Ivory Coast upsets Norway. But as
Okay.
Devashi said, good to see star matches coming up.
Absolutely. So that's Obhijit's prediction. What's your prediction? Let us know in the comment section below, and stay tuned to Rev Sports for more such shows and content, from the North America during this FIFA World Cup. Thanks for watching. See you in our next show.